What's up, everybody? It is Greg Cherry back with another live stream, and I'm really hoping that with everything going on in the world today, that I provide an outlet for entertainment, if nothing else. Obviously, we all know that racism is a terrible thing, and it needs to end. It should have ended years ago. So let's just pray that we can all find ways to work together, that all of this hatred ends, and that we can stand side by side working together. That's all I'll really say about that. Because racism is beyond stupid. Should not exist. So let's work together to end it. So, now that we got that said at the top of the show, let's get into the entertaining parts of the show. A lot going on in the world of wrestling, obviously, with AEW, with WWE. So what do you guys want to talk about? What can I do to entertain you guys? That's what I'm here for. I'm here for not only wrestling discussion, but I'm here for the entertainment purposes of it all. Everything that I'm doing right now, I've got every shirt that has been won on the stream has already been ordered. The samples should be sent out. The Beachbody sample should be sent out sometime this week, hopefully, because we just got some samples in. So now we can actually ship those out to the people that want them. And let's have fun for 2 hours. I know that there's a lot going on in the world. We know that there's... I don't even know how to put it, really. There's so much, I don't want to say anxiety, but there's so much angst, I guess, in the world right now, that if I can provide an outlet for people to be able to laugh and have a good time and not worry about the hatred going on in the world, I want to provide that entertaining outlet. So let me be that outlet for you. All right, let's get into the chat. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast, what's up, world? How you doing? Mike Gonzalez in the house, what's up? Ken terminated by Google. Greg Cherry's favorite Oriental markets in the house. Yes, thank you, Ken, for watching each and every week. Jermaine, hi, Greg. What's up, Jermaine? How you doing? Greg is the GOAT. Well, thank you. Does Corbin and Sheamus have anything to do with the Hardy drunk storyline? Definitely possible. I didn't catch all of SmackDown this week. I caught some of it. I feel like Sheamus is the obvious answer to the storyline, since Jeff Hardy cost Sheamus his spot in the Intercontinental title tournament. But I don't think it will end up being Sheamus. It's obviously not Matt Hardy again. We're not going through that storyline again because Matt's no longer there. Corbin would be a nice choice to start a storyline with Jeff Hardy, or it could be somebody that we're not expecting. Maybe like the hacker will show who set Jeff Hardy up, because it seems like that's what it was. It was a setup. The person found Jeff Hardy and attacked him, and then poured alcohol on him and whatever. And people are upset with the storyline. It's like, hey, you shouldn't use real life stuff. It's like, there are people who say that they don't use enough real life stuff. It's like, pick a lane, okay? If Jeff Hardy wasn't comfortable doing the storyline, he wouldn't have done the storyline. But he's owned his stuff. Everybody knows the deal with Jeff Hardy. The fact that he's owning his stuff and allowing them to showcase it on TV, don't put that all on the writers, because, you know, the wrestlers have to be comfortable with doing that too. So if he's like, yeah, fine, we can do this. It's not like they're going to make him a drunk like they did Hawk. That was a storyline in incredibly bad taste. But hopefully it leads to a good series of matches with Jeff Hardy and whoever ends up being this person. Like I said, Sheamus appeared to be that person. I figure it's going to be somebody else completely. maybe a baby face turning heel. You never know. Let's see. Ashton Marcano, what do you prefer, NXT or AEW, Greg? All wrestling, really. I haven't been able to watch enough of AEW. I need to get around to doing that though. I want to check out the Casino Ladder match and the Stadium Stampede match, which people have mixed opinions on. It's like just watch it for the purposes of being entertained and don't take everything too seriously. Um, Cool Brothers Radio Podcast, wonderful WTC match on Friday. Thank you. So for those of you who are still not aware, Wrestling Trivia Challenge is back. It is on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Greg Cherry Brand, right here. Go check it out. The most recent episode has not only a voiceover by former HQ Trivia host Sarah Priebus, but it includes probably one of my toughest matches in a long time. So go check that out. Go subscribe to the channel. Trying to get over 1,000 because once I hit that 1,000 mark and have the ability to be monetized, then maybe my streams will go over there. Because then I can do even more stuff. With this being Aaron's channel, I try to be a little bit laid back, even though I go pretty hard on Aaron's channel. But on my channel, it's like, it's all my responsibility. I don't care what happens. Just keep you guys entertained. So that's what I do. Champ, I don't know if you watch NXT, but I'm probably the only Mark who's impressed with Dijakovic. Dijakovic is awesome. I don't know why anybody would not be impressed by Dijakovic. His match with Keith Lee at the last takeover in front of a crowd, NXT Takeover Portland, was fan-freaking-tastic. It was amazing. Ken says, I think it's Nick Lavin. He told Mario Jannetty to go through the window at Beefcake's barbershop. I mean, Jannetty did dive through the window to escape Shawn Michaels. What an act of cowardice. I'm surprised Hawk and Hall were okay with the drunk or high storylines. I think they were both legitimately were messed up for their storylines. It's very possible. The Scott Hall one wasn't in great taste either in WCW. But I don't know anybody who looks back at the Hawk storyline in '98 and is like, yeah, this is good stuff. Like, this is great. This is peak WWF TV. It's like, nobody liked it. Let's see. Mike D, do you ever see CM Punk returning to WWE TV? Other than backstage, no. I really don't. Jermaine Presley, what do you think of SmackDown lately? It has been good the past few weeks. Well, SmackDown, I feel like, has the better storylines than Raw. Raw is... I don't know what the deal with Raw is lately. I still think they need to go back to 2 hours. Raw needs to go back to 2 hours because 3 hours is way too long for not too... The fact that Raw is 3 hours and not a whole lot happens during that time, cut it back. Raw was 2 hours for how many years? At least 10, maybe 15 years. So, because there was a period when Raw first began, it was only an hour. Why is it so hard to get people over in a 3-hour show when you could get the entire roster over in a 2-hour show? The story, I feel like it's too much. You need to be able to tell stories and get out. And it feels like stuff is just being dragged out for the sake of filling time. You can't do that with shows. Raw needs to go back to being 2 hours. Have Raw 2 hours, NXT at 2 hours, SmackDown 2 hours. Because when you have only one of your shows at a 3-hour length and the rest at 2, it gives people the idea that, hey, Raw is the better show. Raw is the more important show, and NXT and SmackDown are just kind of there. Yes, Raw is the flagship TV show, the flagship weekly show. I get it. Okay, it's been around for over 25 years. Fine. And we understand that. But you need to cut it back for the sake of everybody's sanity. You have so much TV product that you're putting out there. You need to dial it back a little bit because people, and I've said this before on the stream, people are going to get sick of the overexposure. For me, I watch the stuff on YouTube for the weekly shows, and I watch the pay-per-views or the live events or whatever they're called on the network. Network events, sure, whatever. So I watch the takeovers. I watch the pay-per-views the whole way through. But when you have so much Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and it's not even must-see TV, like you could miss a couple weeks of Raw here, a couple weeks of SmackDown here, a couple weeks of NXT, and you'll still know what's going on. It's like, if your storylines are just the most basic of basic, you're not going to draw anybody in. Like, you need long-term storylines to have an eventual payoff. You see the slow burn with Sasha Bailey. You see the story of the Jeff Hardy storyline, which a lot of people don't like. Fine, I get it. But if it's the start of something and it's like a whodunit type of thing, like those kinds of storylines are interesting. I'm not saying they need to do that all the time, but you need storylines that will compel people to be interested in the character stories. Just like any TV show, and that's not just wrestling, it's any TV show. If your story sucks, your show's going to suck. Doesn't matter how good the performers are. That's why there are certain seasons of How I Met Your Mother that are better than others. Certain seasons of freaking The Office that are better than others. Certain seasons of Parks and Recreation that are better than others. And yes, those are all sitcoms. But it's what I got to go off of. And you need those kinds of solid storylines. And you need them, believe it or not, wait for it, for everybody on the show. The fact that people just have random matches and have no direction is like, okay, this is a showcase match for this. It doesn't really lead to anything. We just need to fill time. Who does that help? Who does it help? It doesn't help the viewer get invested in that person. It doesn't help the superstar going through it. You need to give everybody on that show some level of importance. Like, their spot on the show is important. For whatever reason. Not just showcase matches, to have matches. Granted, I like the in-ring work. I've always been an in-ring work person. But I also like the character development. I also like the storylines. And if your storylines aren't compelling, you're not going to have viewership. What do you think drove people into WWE for Austin versus McMahon? And that was a storyline that lasted years. Because there were different twists and turns and all this crazy stuff happening. But now you don't have that. You don't have any of that importance. Any of that, hey, you have to watch Raw to see what happens next. There's barely any of that for Raw. There's some of it's for SmackDown. NXT does it more frequently than both the other brands. But for Raw, you don't have that cliffhanger stuff. You just don't. That's why I think Raw needs to improve. I know the question was about SmackDown, but I went on a rant. Greg has to go. Will Matt Riddle be the next big thing or lost in the shuffle? Same with Velveteen and Donovan when called up. Well, Velveteen Dream has another chance at the NXT Championship to take over in your house, so he might not be called up that quick. It honestly might be Cole before them, or the entire Undisputed Era, because none of them have titles. Matt Riddle, I hope becomes a big deal. I hope they do like the video packages for a couple weeks, and then have him show up. Maybe the SmackDown after whatever the next pay-per-view is. I wish I knew the pay-per-view schedule, but they change it so damn frequently that I have no idea. I hope they don't just throw him on whatever the next pay-per-view is just as like a showcase match. It's like, give him time. We know how good he is. Just give him time. Jermaine Presley. Rumor has it that Leo and Chelsea Green are getting moved up in the next few weeks. Leo Rush got released like a month ago. Unless he came back and nobody told me. Chelsea Green might get the move up. That would be okay. She hasn't done too much as far as NXT, and she might actually fit better on a Raw or SmackDown than NXT, but who knows? Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. I remember when it was Raw than Warzone the second hour. Yeah, back in the days of the Attitude Era. That was good times because it felt more important. Mike D. Texas announced the other day that they can start letting 25% fan capacity into their stadiums for sports. Can you see Vince moving SummerSlam to Texas so there are fans in attendance? That's possible. It's possible they find some stadiums that have fans, and it's like, hey, you want to do SummerSlam here? I feel like, though, it's going to be very tough with as limited time as they have, which is only like 2 or 3 months, unless, like, of course, they just move SummerSlam till September or something. I really don't know what their pay-per-view schedule is. I'm sure they're all completely thrown off. Well, Backlash is next, I guess. Backlash is... When is that? When is Backlash? I'm guessing that's a week after In Your House. Backlash 2020, June 14th. Okay. So, it's not next Sunday, it's the Sunday after. Okay. I got you. What else? Nick Lavin says, I agree with Greg. 3-hour Raws long with the crowd, let alone without one. It's absolutely too long. You're draining people out on your product. You don't want that. It's like, hey, let's give you more of the product that you want. It's like, just don't overdo it. When you overdo it, people get burnt out quicker. That's the way it is. Curtis Butler joining us, and he's at work. Man, you're at work like every time I do a stream now, brother. Would you love a Jake Roberts and Archer promo battle between Jericho and Inner Circle? A Jake Roberts and Jericho segment would probably be awesome. I'm down for that, but they're both heels, so I don't know how it would work. Do you think that they're putting the women's tag titles back on Sasha and Bayley due to the fact that they might delay the feud back because of lack of fans at SummerSlam? I'd be fine if Sasha and Bayley regain the tag team titles and it kind of like eases their dissension. It's like, hey, yeah, we're okay. We're the tag team champions, blah, 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 blah. There can still be that little bit of, like, Sasha's looking at Bayley like, hey, don't let this distract you from the fact that I'm coming for your women's title. I'm fine if they use it as, like, a tool to push the feud, kind of like they did with MVP and Matt Hardy. They won the tag team titles even though they were feuding over the U.S. title, stuff like that. What's up, Domestic Butler? How you doing? Let's see. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. Hall, Nash, Hogan, DDP, Sting, Goldberg, Flair, Savage versus Triple H, Stone Cold, Rock, Undertaker, Kane, Mankind, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Who would win in singles matches and who would face off? Jeez. If I had to book a card, I would probably put Stone Cold against Hogan, Rock against Sting, Undertaker against Goldberg, in their primes, not last year. Kane versus Kevin Nash. Mankind versus DDP. Triple H versus Flair. Shawn Michaels versus Scott Hall, and Bret Hart versus Macho Man. I don't know how you'd want to split that up, WCW against WWE, but yeah, I don't know how you'd want to split that up. You'd probably have to make it even, because it's 8 aside. So I guess you could do like tournament format. Or you could put the WCW, like have your best WCW guy face your best WWF guy. Put the 8 WCW people on one side of the bracket, 8 WWF people on the other side of the bracket, have them fight it out, and then the final match of the night is the top guy in WWF versus the top guy in WCW. However you want to do that. Who would be in a modern day version of Evolution to make it work? I feel like if you did Triple H would almost be taking the Ric Flair position. I don't even know who you would have as like a main event guy to be able to pull that off. Because you would have to have somebody. You'd have to have somebody who's world championship material. I like McIntyre as a babyface right now, so I don't know. And I don't want to say the Undisputed Era because all 4 of those guys have been in business for a long time. I'd have to think about that. Matt Helm's in the house. How you doing, sir? Greg is the GOAT. His next guy is Cole, Lee, and Velveteen. I mean, can you imagine that as a stable? That'd be awesome. What was the better feud, Taker versus Edge or Cena versus Edge? Probably Cena versus Edge. Realistically. Because Cena versus Edge lasted longer than their 2006 feud. It went all the way into 2009 timeframe. They may have had a match against each other in 2010, but I feel like that feud really helped define Edge as a main eventer and really gave somebody for Cena to be just somebody for him to feud well against. So I'd probably give it to Cena and Edge. And in my opinion, it's a more memorable feud. Just because of all the stuff that happened during it. Greg is the GOAT. Undertaker's best match was against Batista. I'll argue that. Taker's best match ever was against Batista? Have you not watched his matches with Shawn Michaels? Taker had a good match against Batista at WrestleMania 23. I'll give you that. He had a decent feud with Batista in 2007. But Taker's best wrestling match was not against Batista. Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25, for example. I'm trying to think of another good one. Undertaker, Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21 was another good one. Or a SummerSlam one. Take your pick. Yeah, good matches with Edge. I still think Taker's best match was with Shawn. What would be your top 5 wrestling finishers for men and for the women? Of all time or currently? Let's start with the women. I feel like the figure 8 is probably a solid finisher for the women. The Eclipse is up there. I really hope Ember Moon's career isn't over. That would suck. That would be terrible. Especially because it was such a fluke thing. Bank statement. Two more finishers for the women. I mean, Io Shirai's moonsault is insane. She has one of the prettiest moonsaults ever. She may have a better moonsault than Christopher Daniels, and that's hard to do. One more. And honestly, I like Britt Baker's lockjaw, which is kind of like the Rings of Saturn, but like pulling down on the jaw. Like that's a brutal finisher. So gotta shout out my fellow Blitzburger. Um, the Hell in a Cell with Triple H at 28. I don't know how I forgot that match because I was there. Uh, do you think the Mike Tyson count at WrestleMania against Shawn was meant to be fast? I've always wondered. It was probably Mike Tyson didn't know what his speed was, but yeah, Austin's title reign, the Austin era began with a fast count. Go figure. Kairi Sane's elbow looks beautiful. Yeah, the insane elbow. It's another good one. Better than the BME? I mean, I love me some Christopher Daniels. I think that Daniels has one of the best looking moonsaults, one of the best executed moonsaults ever. But Io Shirai's moonsault looks simply flawless. Even the one she did off the cage, beautiful form. Io Shirai is incredible. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. I was wondering if you could do a video talking about some of your favorite deceased pro wrestlers, like a tribute to the men and women who have touched our lives who are no longer with us. I mean, I could. It'd probably be something I'd have to like sit down and write all the stuff for, but I'm sure I could do that. Maybe it'll be something that comes to the Great Cherry Brand YouTube channel. I do need more content because all I have right now is episodes of WTC going up every 2 weeks, and I'm starting to put up videos of my loopholes in WWE Champions. So we will see how that goes. Greg is the GOAT. Kevin Federline's feud with Cena more over than EC3, Jackson Riker, and No Way Jose. Damn. But sadly, probably true. Yeah, Ken, the Angel's Wings is kind of like, I mean, it's basically the fairy tale ending that Ciampa does. It's the underhook, lift them up, drop them down. BME is the best moonsault ever. Where he leaps on the middle rope, top rope, moonsault. Yep, that's what that is. Greg, I like Kurt Angle's when he did it. Always looked nice, especially off the cage. Yeah, except when he missed, that was ridiculously painful. But yeah, Angle had a good looking moonsault too for a while. Angle did a 450 once too. What wrestler and what match had the most impact for somebody's career by putting them over? 1, 2, 3 Kid? I mean, without that victory, you figure Sean Waltman wouldn't have had much of a career. If a career at all. By becoming the 1, 2, 3 Kid, it opened the doors for him to become the 1, 2, 3 Kid, then Six, then X-Pac, and then Sean Waltman in TNA. You know, he had a career because of that moment. Trying to think of other people's careers who were made in a similar fashion. Coming up a little empty at the moment. I'm sure those are attractive faces. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 Kid's definitely a good option for that. He might be the person who benefited most from getting a win in those circumstances. Because I know Zack Ryder winning the U.S. title could have been one, but he floundered for many years before having a decent championship run. Um, Champ, you mean Awesome Kong's finisher? Well, the Implant Buster is similar, but it's not exactly the same. Corbin, Shane, and Big Ben as a stable would be great stable if he could manage one. I mean, Roethlisberger, Shane McMahon, and Baron Corbin. Love to hang out with all three of them. Daniels was in WWE in 1999. I think he was in there before that, too. He might have been in there in like 97 because he fought Taka Michinoku. Or maybe it was 99 when he fought Taka. But yeah, Daniels with hair. It was weird. They even did the Angels wings during that point. But I'm pretty sure Taka was light heavyweight champion at that point. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the Hardys were enhancement talent for a long time before they became stars. That's true. I mean, they were used on TV a lot and had quite a few matches before they hit the big time. Who's Big Ben? Big Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. He guest hosted Raw in 2009. Jermaine Presley. This past Friday night on SmackDown, Sasha was honoring Anna. I was wondering if maybe they might let Sasha do the basement octopus in a match to honor her soon. Possibly. I mean, if she wanted to do the move during the match to honor her, then that would be fine. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I mean, the fact that they're letting her honor somebody who lost their life like that is cool. I mean, you saw the New Day had Shad on their armbands too, because obviously Shad Gaspard lost his life, unfortunately, a couple weeks ago. It was a very sad story, very heroic story for him, though. He goes down as somebody that people should aspire to be, saving his family before he was saved. It was unfortunate that he was unable to be saved, honestly. But hopefully his son can become as good as the man as he was. Greg is the GOAT. You forgot Santino beating Umaga for IC title made Santino. The thing with Santino is, like, that was his way to debut in front of the crowd. 1, 2, 3 Kid winning was after weeks of him getting beat up. Like, the Kid was a jobber for a while, and then he finally beat Razor, which was supposed to be the big moment. Let's see. Hey, Rift's in the house. What's up, Rift? What is your favorite character or gimmick? Not necessarily your favorite wrestler. Favorite gimmick? I mean, The Undertaker's gimmick is legendary. Favorite gimmick? I always liked Mr. Kennedy / Anderson. I love that gimmick. Colin Andrew the Cleaver with the first super chat of the day. What's up, Colin? How you doing? $10 super chat. Let's get you a good spin. Hopefully, all your bad luck is gone. We don't need any more bankrupts on the show. So let's get you a good one. Here we go. I thought it was going to land on bankrupt again. Entrance. You got an entrance, Mr. Andrew. So let me know. The way it was spinning, I saw the bankrupt coming around. I was like, don't do it again. Don't do it again. So yeah, Colin, let me know what your entrance is, and obviously I'll do it for you. Man, that would have been some crap if he would have hit bankrupt again. Man, I'm glad it didn't happen. Which reminds me, I do need to bring that up in Winamp. Greg is the GOAT. Is Cody Rhodes overrated? Overrated how? I think he's perfectly rated the way he is, honestly. There we go. Let's see, Edge. Okay. Rated R superstar. Not a problem with that. The rated R superstar, in the words of Tony Chimmel. Oops. Don't need Sarah Priebus reading rules because that's not a thing. All right, here we go. With the rated R superstar. And let's go through the ads, because we have to. Blah, 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 blah. You have no idea how many Raid Shadow Legends things I've seen. But here we go. All right. There you go, Colin, with your entrance. Alyssa Stansberry. Don't like Seth Rollins' heel turns so far. Don't like the heel gimmick. Too many heel babyface gimmick music not work for me. Need to move to SmackDown, be to refresh, not Monday Night Raw. Essentially saying she doesn't like the Monday Night Messiah gimmick. Well, it's early on. Hopefully it gets better. All right. Appreciate it, Colin. Sounds good. People, check out his predictions live at 8 Eastern for Aftermatch Wrestling. Go check that out. No problem, Colin. Happy to give you the Edge entrance. Greg is the GOAT. Matt Riddle will probably be fed to Lesnar. Riddle and Lesnar, I mean, maybe this is Matt Riddle's opportunity to retire him. He said he wanted to do it, so make that match happen. Ken said the wild card rule should be dead. That's just me. I mean, yeah, it should be. It's a ridiculous rule. Now, Aaron, is the Super Chat Championship a thing again? If you're still in the chat? Because I must have missed that somewhere along the line. But if it is, we can bring it back here. The good old Super Chat Championship. A championship I don't think I ever got to hold, but just for no DQ Q and AV. Gotcha. No problem. Not gonna steal your gimmick then. On the premieres. That makes sense. That makes sense. Champ, are you surprised that Riddle isn't on Raw? Heyman is really high on Riddle. No pun. It may get to a point where Riddle eventually shows up on Raw. Perhaps something where Lesnar's the champion again and maybe Riddle wins the Rumble. We don't know. He'd need a far better performance than he had this past Royal Rumble, but you know, Shawn Michaels once lasted 11 seconds in a Rumble and he won 2, so I think he's okay. So, now with me caught up with the chat for the time being. Oh, well, 1 second. John Morrison pins Strowman, I'm guessing. Yeah, Strowman. Okay. John Morrison pins Strowman, splits with The Miz, and they feud for the belt. Or Freebird the WWE, it'd be the Universal title. And do you think Kofi should have Freebird the title with Ian Woods? That would have been cool if New Day would have Freebirded the WWE Championship. They probably could have. That way Big E could have been technically WWE Champion, and Xavier Woods would have been WWE Champion. That would have been awesome. I would have been here for that. I would like to see either Morrison or Miz pick up the win, but maybe I feel like it's a kind of thing where I don't see Strowman losing in that scenario at Backlash, but I'd be okay if it happened. Come back as its own company? Because would you like to see ECW come back? No, it's fine in the past. This past week on NXT, we got cage fight between Riddle and Thatcher. Who do you want to see next in that type of fight on the main roster? I say Sasha versus Sonya. I don't know, put Sonya and Mandy in that type of match. You feel like it'd be a huge advantage for Sonya being a MMA fighter, so why not? I feel like Sasha would be more versed to wrestling as opposed to like MMA stuff. Or if Ronda Rousey comes back, throw Rousey and Sonya in that type of match. It'd be entertaining. Let's see. Yeah, Mandy and Sonya would be huge for a cage match. I mean, if you want to continue their feud, then yeah, give them a high-profile gimmick match. Okay, so doing a few plugs right here, since we're a little bit into the stream. Of course, the youtube.com/Greg Cherrybrand for the Wrestling Trivia Challenge. To watch me do my loot pulls for WWE Champions. I'm trying to get better with that now that I've figured out how to actually do it. So I only have one video up there right now, but we'll hopefully get some more here in the future. Teespring.com/store/Greg Cherrybrand. I've got about 30 different designs up there. Go check them out. Pick what you like. Enjoy the shirts. It really helps. It really helps support my creativity. I love designing stuff like that. And if you could, even if you don't want the shirts, tell somebody about the shirts. Let them know that they're there. Say, hey, this guy's got quite a few cool designs. I think you'd like to check them out. Spread the word. Stuff like that. It really helps me out. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Greg Cherrybrand. I have the Facebook page up there, but I rarely update it, so I don't know why I have it up there. Do you think it's time to turn Roman Reigns heel? Go against Seth Rollins, The Rock, see the main event of WrestleMania? Well, once Roman gets back to TV, he's probably going to be the babyface. I don't know if this whole thing with Strowman is what Roman was supposed to do with the title. But maybe this is something to just keep Strowman going along until... I mean, Strowman's another possibility for who could have set up Jeff Hardy, and maybe he turns heel and Jeff Hardy gets put in a Universal title program. We don't know. It could be something like that. That would be interesting, I think. Keith Lee versus Mark Henry, a dream match. If you're talking Hall of Pain Mark Henry, that'd be a cool match to watch. Just because Mark Henry had so much momentum, he was the World Heavyweight Champion, and seeing Keith Lee as ridiculously athletic as he is, that would be a good match. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. Who would have made a better WWE champion? Farouk beating Undertaker, Lex Luger beating Yokozuna, Razor Ramon beating Bret Hart, or Jake Roberts beating Randy Savage? Razor beating Bret would have been really intriguing. Although you have had to switch up the 93 Rumble result. Jake Roberts beating Randy Savage. I think Jake Roberts as WWE champion in a feud with Savage would have been golden. I don't know if him beating Savage for the championship would have been the right call. I think I'd rather have Savage beat him if Jake would have won the 92 Rumble and then defended the title against Savage at WrestleMania. I feel like that match might have actually been better than the match Savage had with Flair, even though Savage and Flair was a great match. Just the story that Jake Roberts and Randy Savage had, that would have been very intriguing for Jake Roberts to go in there with the championship, taunting Savage the entire way, taunting Elizabeth the entire way. I think it would have worked. Farouk beating Undertaker. If Farouk was too new into the WWF at that point in 97, and I don't know if anybody saw the Nation as a true main event stable. If the Nation would have been like Shield level, it probably would have worked. But I don't know if the Nation of Domination had that kind of momentum to put Farouk in the main event. Not saying Farouk couldn't main event. I just don't know if that particular faction would have got him there. Because obviously, Ron Simmons is a former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, so he's been there. He won a World Championship before. I don't know if the Nation of Domination would be the way to get him there. But he... I don't know where Farouk would have fit in for WWF Champion. Maybe a feud with Stone Cold, perhaps? If he would have kept going with the Nation in 98? Because I feel like the Nation in 98, even though it was kind of overtaken by The Rock, Farouk and Stone Cold in a WWF Championship feud would have been solid. Adrian with a 20 euro super chat. Evening, Greg. Did you get my email last week in regards to my free t-shirt? I did, and it's already ordered. So it should be on its way. And who knows, maybe you'll have another one coming for you right now. So here you go. All right, Adrian, here we go with your 2 spins. Let's get them done. Beach Bash. So I will be sending you a Beachbody sample, which will be interesting to ship overseas, but it's okay. And now your second one. Macho time. All right, give me something to talk about in the voice of Macho Man Randy Savage, and I will do that for you, sir. Who made Bliss a segment host? At least Carlito is a fine talker. Oh. Greg is a good says the Jay Lethal Ric Flair segment from TNA is more over than Alexa Bliss. This is your life. Well, obviously, The Flair and Lethal segment was comedy gold. Yeah, Jay Lethal and Ric Flair segment, if you haven't seen it, and it's either one that Jay Lethal did, because Jay Lethal's just brilliant at everything he does. Um, Macho Time doing a Scott Steiner promo. Yeah, give me 1 second. I have to. I know exactly what promo I want to do. So give me a second here. Yes, Jay Lethal is very good with impressions. So Macho Man Randy Savage doing a Scott Steiner promo. Oh yeah. You know they say that all men are created equal, yeah, but you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe, you can see that statement is not true. Yeah. See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, hold on, I got cut off here. Normally, if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning, yeah. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal, yeah. So you got a 25% at best at beating me. Then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, and your chances of winning drastically go down. Yes, they do, yeah. See the three-way at Sacrifice. You got a 33 and a third chance of winning, but I got a 66 and 2/3 chance of winning. Yeah, because Kurt Angle, he knows he can't beat me. He's not even gonna try. Yeah. So Samoa Joe, you take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning at Sacrifice. Yeah. But then you take my 75% chance of winning if we was to go one-on-one, and then that's 66 and 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie. And they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice. Oh, yeah. Had to do the Scott Steiner math promo. I mean, you absolutely have to do it there. You got, I mean, Scott Steiner's Steiner math promo is probably one of the greatest things to ever come out of TNA. Jermaine Presley. SummerSlam, Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar in a cage fight. What do you think? I mean, I would like to see Lesnar and Lashley in any sort of match. I just hope they don't ruin that, you know. Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate it. And I'll send you an email after the fact, figuring out how to get that sample shipped over to you. Um. Okay, so yeah, so I've already mentioned about the Great Cherry Brand on Instagram, Twitter, the YouTube channel, the Teespring store, all that fun stuff. What else do you guys want to talk about? I wish I had my computer set up to the point where I could just, almost like a Twitch stream, to stream my WWE Champions playing, but for whatever reason, I've tried to set up my stuff on my laptop a couple different times, and it's just not having it either time, so. Eventually, I'll have more video game stuff to put on the channel. That's the ultimate goal. I want to have more stuff for my YouTube channel, more stuff to engage the viewers and whatnot. Because Wrestling Trivia Challenge is kind of my bread and butter right now. And hopefully, there you go, spin for Ken. €10 to spin for Ken. So, Ken terminated by Google. Adrian's giving you a spin. So here we go. Let's see what you get. What's that about not winning shirts, Ken? You just won one. Congratulations, Ken. Well, you just won a shirt from my Teespring store looking at some of the comments. So pick one out. Let me know which one you want, and I will send that off to you, good sir. So there we go. I mean, that's what you need, right? Winning some shirts off of spins. It's all good. So yeah, so Ken, you should have the link. I believe I still have your address, so I can send that to you whenever you want. So let me know what shirt you want. There you go. Let me know what shirt you want, and I'll send that off to you. Or if you feel bad about the shirt, you can always take an entrance. Your call, ultimately. So what else is going on, guys? I've already talked about the Jeff Hardy stuff. It's hard to believe that Backlash is coming up in 2 weeks. I know we haven't talked about Edge versus Orton enough. For some reason, I feel like that's going to be the greatest wrestling match ever, and then Orton's just going to hit an RKO and the match is going to be over. And it's like, if you want to send it to me on Twitter, that's fine. Or if you want to email me, it's fine too. GregoryJCherry@gmail.com. That's how Adrian did it, so you can let me know, and then I have your contact information for later. I want that. Yeah, I got like a whole bunch of options up there, so there's no shortage. Whole bunch of shirts, whole bunch of colors. I like Teespring way better than I ever liked Pro Wrestling Tees. And I've said that before. I just like the quality of the shirt, because, I mean, one second. As soon as I get it out here. Here we go. My Cherry 2 Bout shirt. See if you can see that. Right there. It's definitely a good quality shirt. I mean, the screen print is fantastic. Feels good. It's so much more comfortable than the Pro Wrestling T-shirts. I feel like the screen prints are way better quality, too. I mean, look at that. That turned out amazing. One of the ones I had from Pro Wrestling Tees, my Heinz one, just did not turn out well at all, and it was super frustrating. So, yes, the Super Chat Championship with Aaron Show. Yep. So we're into the stream. Tell your friends and neighbors. I'm doing entrances. I'm giving away shirts. I'm doing it all here on the Great Cherry YouTube channel. I wish it was my YouTube channel. It's not. It's Aaron's. I'm so used to like plugging my own stuff, I forgot what channel I'm on. So there you go. Invite your friends. Tell them, hey, you can win a shirt off of this guy's Teespring store. I'll be like, yeah, what shirt do you want? Where'd everybody go in the chat? Jeez. But yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, the latest episode of Wrestling Trivia Challenge has gone up. It is on my YouTube channel. I believe it was episode 4 or 5. I don't remember what my episodes are anymore. Let's see. 3, 4. Yeah, it was the 4th episode. Okay. Where's episode 5? Okay, there it is. Okay, yeah. Episode 5 is already recorded. I just need to edit that and get that up in a couple weeks. If you people know anybody who wants to challenge for the Wrestling Trivia Challenge Championship, send a message to Jeff Meacham @_Jeff Meacham on either Instagram or Twitter and get your name in the queue. And we'll make sure to get you in there. We still have quite a few people to get through, but we're working our way in, and we have quite a few tapings lined up for Wrestling Trivia Challenge. Whether I end up still being the champion or not remains to be seen. But regardless, we're pushing through with the series. So if I happen to lose the championship at any point, we're still going to continue with the series. I'm just not going to be officially part of it. I'll just be editing instead of actually competing on the show. But, somebody actually has to take the title from me. And seeing as I've been champion for 813 days now, which, kind of a spoiler for Friday's episode, but it's still a good episode. Go check it out. This past Friday's episode, not the one upcoming. 813 days at this point. It's crazy. But I push along, defending the title every 2 weeks, so that way my reign doesn't, is not completely tainted, I guess. Because I did go a while without defending the championship. I'm like, hey, I need to defend the title again. Keep it going, keep it going. The road to 1,000 is what I'm looking for. Adrian with another €10 super chat. Greg, which of these heels should have beaten Hogan or Warrior for the belt? Perfect or Rude? Can only choose one. I would choose Mr. Perfect. I liked Ravishing Rick Rude. I thought it was a fantastic heel, but I would have loved to see Mr. Perfect with the WWF Championship. Personal opinion. All right, let's get you another spin here, Adrian. Oh, the first time I hit 20 push-ups. I was starting to wonder. I was stuck on the wheel. Yeah, the first time I've ever hit 20 push-ups. So, okay. Gotta get down here and do the work. Keep me in shape. Get down there. Alright. Let's see what I can do here. Alright. Oh, geez, this is not conducive to doing this. Do this. Can you still see me? Probably not. This is a tight squeeze to do this. Okay. That's a lot better. Oh, crap. Ugh. Wow, I thought 20 wouldn't be too bad. Alright. Gotta start using some of those products, huh? That's 15, huh? Alright. 20. Okay. That sucks. Whew. Yeah, that's no fun at all. Whew. That's 20 push-ups. Didn't realize how much those sucked. And how much I actually... Damn. Maybe I'm glad I haven't ate that too often. Jeez. It's okay. I do enough of those. I'll get the arm strength. I'll be able to do 20 without a problem. Whew. Yeah, I should have done like sit-ups or something, but even sit-ups can be a pain in the butt. Felt like jumping jacks were too easy. Be like, I can do jumping jacks all day long. Push-ups suck. So, but they're on here for a reason. If I hit it, I gotta do them. So there you go. Word of advice, never ever upload videos from WWE or some massacre. There you go. Don't take people's copyrights. There you go. I wasn't sure if I was gonna... I've been kind of like dancing around that one and then finally hit it today. Whew. I should not be this gassed. It's kind of embarrassing. Did you eat anything before the stream? Because that can tire you out if you eat something. Yeah, I did. I did have lunch, but that was like a couple hours before I streamed. So I shouldn't be this exhausted. Mike Gonzalez, better feud: Angle versus Lesnar or Triple H versus Orton? Angle versus Lesnar. Just because I thought they had better matches. Triple H and Orton wasn't bad, but none of their matches blew me away. Angle Lesnar was just fantastic to watch. Especially when I think of WrestleMania main events. Triple H and Orton, Ken just brought it up. Triple H and Orton at WrestleMania as opposed to Angle and Lesnar at WrestleMania. Angle and Lesnar tore the freaking house down at a WrestleMania that had already torn the house down. So Angle and Lesnar built the house back up and then tore it back down. They were that good for the main event. And yes, Lesnar botched the shooting star press, but it didn't take away from how good the match was. It was just a scary spot. But Triple H and Orton at WrestleMania 25, it being a standard match, didn't work. If it was like no disqualification or like street fight or anything like that, probably would have been good. But it was so underwhelming of a main event. Because their feud up to that point is like, you want to see these two rip each other apart, and then it's just like a standard match. It's like, what? And yeah, Shawn and Taker went on before that and also tore the house down. But if you would have had Triple H and Randy Orton be like a street fight, a no-holds-barred match, which I know the Hardys had a match similar to that. I don't know. It just seemed out of place that Triple H and Orton was just a regular Worlds match. Didn't make any sense. Champ, if you paid me $1 million to watch Triple H's match with Orton on Mania 25, I might have no problem watching it. It was just okay. It was okay, but if I had to pick my top 10 WrestleMania main events, it certainly wouldn't be among them. A lot of my main events would involve Shawn Michaels. Shocker. Mania 12, Mania 14, Mania 26. I'd probably even throw Mania 23 in there. I mean, the Cena match was good, just I didn't feel like it had the right winner. Personal opinion. Angle Lesnar had the most underrated Iron Man match. I mean, their Iron Man match was solid. And it's kind of forgotten about, sadly, because it was on SmackDown in 2003. And Lesnar was the first person... No, he wasn't the first person to win the title. He was actually the third, because it was the third Iron Man match. And the fact that they put that episode, or they put that match on a SmackDown. It's amazing to me that that match is so forgotten. Because it really shouldn't be. But I think they did because Raw had a pay-per-view that month and not SmackDown. So that's why they put the Iron Man match on TV when they did, so that they could have a decent build for Lesnar and The Undertaker in 2003, No Mercy. I like the first Iron Man match. The second Iron Man match with The Rock and Triple H was good too. Another Iron Man match that's kind of forgotten about is Benoit and Triple H. The first Iron Man match in Pittsburgh. And that's probably because of Benoit. But there was so much story told, especially in the last few minutes of that match, with Eugene starting his feud with Triple H, or continuing his feud with Triple H, I guess, that he cost Triple H the match and helped Benoit retain. Even though the feud hadn't gone too long, it was still a decent build for what it was. Triple H versus Orton, No Mercy 07, I think was good. Their last man standing match was that they actually wrestled twice that night. They wrestled in the first match and the last match. The last man standing match was decent. I'm not saying that Triple H and Orton didn't have decent matches against each other. It's just I thought Angle and Lesnar delivered more consistently. But yeah, their WrestleMania 25 match was not good. Probably their worst match against each other. Yeah, Triple H wrestled 3 matches that pay-per-view. 2 against Orton and 1 against Umaga. Because he was only supposed to wrestle Umaga that night, and then Cena got hurt. Triple H wrestled Orton in the first match, and then Vince told Triple H that his match with Umaga was for the WWE Championship. And then later, after Triple H beat Umaga, he said Orton was using his rematch clause tonight for the last man standing match that was advertised. So, it was a regular match with Umaga. Yeah, it was not a no disqualification match. It was just a regular match. I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I watched No Mercy 2007. Definitely been a while. I used to watch that pay-per-view quite a bit because that was an entertaining pay-per-view. I still remember, I don't know why I remember Beth Phoenix versus Candice Michelle from that pay-per-view, but it was when Beth won her first championship. Mr. Kennedy cut a good promo for a 6-man tag. They were in Chicago for that show because I remember Kennedy getting heavily booed for mentioning he was from Green Bay, and of course the Packers and the Bears have a long-standing rivalry in the NFL, so naturally you're going to get heat beam from Green Bay when you're in Chicago. So, and then CM Punk defended the ECW Championship against Big Daddy V, and he retained via disqualification because Big Daddy V beat the crap out of him. It was a weird homecoming for Punk. Obviously, he would have a better one a few years later, but there you go. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just a regular match with Umaga. It might have been no disqualification, but I doubt it. Because why would you have a no disqualification match and, understandably, to put Triple H through the ringer, but when he turned face and had the crowd in his hands, it felt like I was always hoping for the best for Mr. Kennedy. And I'm glad that he did become TNA champion twice. Like, that's probably the highest he'll ever get. So it made me happy. I just thought Mr. Kennedy should have been so much more than he was. But the fact that he was so damn injury prone is beyond frustrating. If he would have been injury prone, it would have been Kennedy cashing in on Taker in Pittsburgh after the cage match instead of Edge. It would have been Kennedy doing all the stuff with Mr. McMahon. Mr. Kennedy had a horrible problem with timing because the whole steroid thing hit right around the Vince McMahon thing, which probably wouldn't have come to fruition if it wasn't for everything that Benoit did. He was... I always enjoyed him on the mic. Was he the best wrestler? No. And I'm not going to say he was. But I always enjoyed the character of Mr. Kennedy. I always enjoyed how entertaining he was. And I always rooted for him. He never escalated past the main card in WWE, but I think he should have with the act he was given. My opinion. Would he have been one of the greatest WWE champions of all time if he would have actually made it that level? Probably not. But it still would have been cool to see somebody with that much charisma, that much natural charisma, rise to the top. Because he was basically an unknown before he debuted on Velocity and then went to SmackDown, and the rest is history. Anderson's mic check. Yeah, Anderson's mic check was good. It was better than the Green Bay plunge. Because he wasn't going to get everybody up for that move. And part of me wonders if that contributed to some of his injuries, that move. Is there an Elimination Chamber match that you thought was underrated? The 2008 Raw Elimination Chamber, the 2009 Raw Elimination Chamber were underrated. Yeah, Triple H won in 2008, and then Edge won the one in 2009. Underrated Elimination Chamber matches. The 2012 one for the World Heavyweight Championship, where Daniel Bryan and Santino were the final two. That one's not talked about too much. I mean, granted, the Great Khali was in it, so it was like, whatever. But the ridiculous pops that Santino got during that match, and that's why I actually was still a fan of Santino. Him hitting the Cobra, made that crowd explode. Because they were like, holy crap, Santino Marella is going to go into WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion. For that split second, you believed. Yeah, 2009 Chamber, I'm pretty sure John Cena has the record for shortest in-ring appearance in an Elimination Chamber match, because he was only in there for like a minute and a half, and he got beat by 3 finishers. 2010, when Shawn cost Taker the title. Both 2010 matches were good. New Year's Revolution 2005 was a good one, too. Again, not talked about because of Benoit. But, we all know that December to Dismember one was hot garbage. And the Intercontinental title one that Ryback won was garbage. The tag team one in 2015 was really damn good. The one with a New Day retaining the titles. That was a damn good chamber match. Sadly not talked about because of the hot garbage that Ryback's win was. But 2015 chamber was... The tag chamber was a fantastic match. And the New Day, rightfully so, won. What chamber design do you like more, the old one or the current chamber they use? I like the old one better. The new one just seems like too padded. It's like, it's not really the Elimination Chamber. It's like the floors are like padded. It's like, I'm sure there's steel underneath it, but it's like, you guys just bouncing off of them. It's like, just put trampolines on the outside if you're going to put pads on them. Come on. It's like, oh, the steel hurts too much. It's like, well, that's why you only do the match once a year. Shut up. DX and Rated RKO at New Year's Revolution 2007. Yeah, when Triple H tore his quad again. And then Shawn Michaels just went apeshit and just beat the crap out of everybody. And Orton and Edge bled like faucets. What is the best ECW match? Yeah, WWE or old school ECW. Because WWE ECW best match might be CM Punk and John Morrison when Punk won the title. Old school ECW, I'll be honest, I haven't watched enough old school ECW to be able to give you a good answer on that. Nick Levin, I agree the mats almost ruined the chamber. Yeah, they really do. Audible because of injury to Triple H. DX were probably going to win the belts that night. But it's probably a good thing that they didn't. Because then how would you have had them lose the titles? Or would you have them both face Cena at WrestleMania in a triple threat? Which we saw that work for Survivor Series later, but RVD and Jerry Lynn did have good matches. That's true. So that would probably be one. I think I have a question on Twitter. One second. Yeah, old school ECW, again, I haven't seen enough to judge. But RVD Jerry Lynn matches are probably a solid way to go. Did you like the Jericho and Big Show? Jericho. Yeah, they were a good tag team. Very unique tag team. I like the run that they had. It made sense with Edge getting injured that Jericho would turn to Big Show. I thought it was probably one of Big Show's best tag team runs ever. If Edge wasn't injured, what would Big Show have done? Probably just continued being a singles heel. But I think it was a solid run for the Big Show with Jericho there. Everything happens for a reason. I think it worked out best for all three of them. Madison Square Garden against Taker, Cena, and DX was dope. Yeah, the triple threat match that they had. Triple threat tag match. And then The Undertaker attacked Cena afterwards. It was a really unique concept to have both sets of tag team champions. Or I guess DX wasn't tag team champions at the time because Jericho were undisputed tag team champions or unified tag team champions, whatever. To have two tag teams go after the heavyweight championships, but neither one of them could win them. And it was a cool moment when DX won the belts off of Jericho. Triple H holding the one half of the ladder, Shawn climbing up it, and winning what would be the last ladder match of his career. Shawn Michaels, ladder match expert. Wasn't a fan when they tried to recreate Jericho with Big Show and Miz. Not a fan of Show Miz? Well, awesome, big show. It was a really weird mix they used for them. But Miz was carrying around 3 championships at the time because he had both tag belts and he was the United States Championship or United States champion at the same time. It was absurd. And then they turned show babyface again because he punched Miz in the face. And, the rest is history. So, speaking of the tag belts, which design did you like the most? Like the current belts, I'm like about. I always liked the old school like '90s WWF Tag Team Championships. Even the WCW Tag Team Championships weren't bad, but yeah, the old school WWF Tag Team Championships. And even the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the first ones in 2002, those weren't bad. The designs they have now are kind of terrible. They've been around for like 10 years. Because you had the like penny-shaped belts, and then they became like the silver ones with the red and blue backgrounds. It's like, whatever. Kind of lazy to just use the same tag straps and like the same designs and then just change the color of the strap to show what show it's on. NXT tag team titles aren't bad either. Or the NXT UK ones. And Adrian, one more spin for the road. All right. Let's see what we can get you. Hopefully not 20 push-ups, but that's probably what will happen. Entrance. Let's get you an entrance, Adrian. Just shy of winning another t-shirt, but it's okay. Ken says Virtue sees Riddle as the next top star for Vince. I don't see it. Riddle is a good worker, but his promos were too similar to RVD's. I think Riddle will do well. I think he'll do very well. Yeah, he was that close. I feel like this part of the spinner has been like nicked away for freaking how many spins I've done on this thing. RVD entrance. Okay. Since we're talking about RVD, why not do his entrance? All right, here we go. All right. Let's get through the ads, and there you go. All right, there you go. There you go for the RVD entrance. Ken says he can see Riddle as the Intercontinental or U.S. champion. It might happen. We'll see how the Intercontinental title tournament goes, but I'm guessing Riddle won't be immediately thrust into the main event. Thank you, Adrian. I do what I can. I try to do the best entrances that I can. Comes from a whole bunch of years of watching wrestling entrances and trying to imitate them. Plus, having the bed right here, it also helps for like me acting like I'm entering the ring. Tyler Breeze. Yeah, Breeze and Austin Creed on Up, Up, Down, Down are fantastic. They really are. If you watch GM Mode or Battle of the Brands, whatever you want to call it, just good stuff. Can I do Billy Graham's entrance? Well, you have to spin the wheel to get an entrance, brother. Actually, I'd probably have to look at Superstar Billy Graham's entrance before doing it. I mean, you pulled out freaking pulled out the Freebirds the other week. So let me just take a quick glance at an entrance by Billy Graham. I'm watching Superstar Billy Graham's entrances here. Man, were those ropes flimsy back in '77. Not a whole lot to it, to be honest. Who do you guys think from NXT is going to be the next main eventer? I say Keith Lee or Matt Riddle. I would love to see Keith Lee main event. I honestly would. Dude is a phenomenal talent. Keith Lee being like WWE champion. I'd like to see it. I know we got to see Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. I would love to see that at WrestleMania. I just think there's so much untapped potential there that it would just be incredibly entertaining. It'd be two big hosses going at each other. And it wouldn't be like one second. It wouldn't be like his other big man matches because Keith Lee can move. Rhea Ripley, are you talking about her main eventing possibly? I think Ripley needs to stay in NXT a bit longer before she gets that main roster call up. If they're even considered main roster call ups, they could just be moving her along. I just think Keith Lee has the whole package to be a major superstar. I was actually hoping he was going to win that Survivor Series match when it came down to him and Reigns. I kind of figured Reigns was going to win. It's like, man, Keith Lee winning would be sweet. So good. Yeah, Keith Lee is like 340 pounds, and he moves like a damn cruiserweight. It is insane how good that guy is. Gotta, I can't imagine anybody talking bad about Keith Lee because he is just so naturally good, and I don't understand. Like, it should not be physically possible to do all the things that he does, but I mean, he's limitless for a reason. I, I mean, I would love to see Keith Lee as a WWE champion or Universal champion, whatever the case may be. I'd love to see it. I don't think too many people would disagree. And then 3 months later they'd be like, "Oh, he's overpushed. He's this and that," because people get sick of people winning championships and staying on top. It's like, be happy with something, for crying out loud. Just be happy that something good is happening. But yeah, Keith Lee would definitely be one. I'm sure Adam Cole will main event shows once he gets up to. I mean, he main event SmackDown and Raw, for crying out loud, in the same week. So I imagine, like, if he's ever done in NXT, that they would bring Adam Cole and perhaps the rest of the Undisputed Era to be a force to be reckoned with. Why not make the UE something huge? But yeah, Keith Lee. It's got to be Keith Lee. The man is born to be a star, and he absolutely should be. I don't Ken. I don't believe Cole is going to AEW. I know Britt Baker's there. His woman is there, but he is he has such a good spot in WWE right now, with NXT being the NXT champion for over a year. I don't think he would give that up. I'd say the money's better in WWE, but I don't know if that's true. But he probably sells a lot of merch. I mean, Adam Cole is the biggest star that NXT has. Would you picture Keith Lee as a top heel or a top face? I think he's vicious enough to be a top heel. Um, I like him as a face for right now, but I can only imagine like how vicious Keith Lee could be as a heel. Honestly, I think they need to get a guy like Jeff Cobb in WWE, who's another ridiculous freak athlete. Um, yeah, can you imagine like Jeff Cobb and Keith Lee matches in WWE? Because I don't think Cobb is signed to AEW. I think that was just a one-off, wasn't it? Because I don't think he's been around other than that one time to beat up Moxley. My before pandemic was good. Not too sure about it after the pandemic. I think I feel like Adam Cole. If Adam Cole did go to AEW, he would succeed because obviously he's Adam Cole, baby. But he's done so much. Like, they've pushed him to the moon in NXT, and with good reason. I can't see him leaving that spot just for Britt. I just don't see it. Keith is a chilled, good talker. I can see him as a heel as far as a cold heel, like the character from No Country for Old Men. Um, I mean, like I said, Keith Lee's the whole package. Whatever spot they put him in, he will succeed at, as he should. He's the North American champion right now for a reason, so I feel like that should continue. As people are yelling outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but yeah. Again, it's ultimately his decision if he resigns or not. I imagine that WWE would not want to let a talent like Adam Cole go, but if they did, Adam Cole would be a serious candidate to join AEW, and he would succeed over there too, and maybe form a stable with Britt Baker. I don't know. I would like to see babyface Adam Cole to see how he does, and hopefully he doesn't get watered down too much to just being a catchphrase. Because Adam Cole is too good to not be a star. Ken says, I seriously hope Vince doesn't put Keith Lee in a Cesaro spot. That would be tragic. Cesaro deserves better. Maybe, and maybe this is just me being hopeful, maybe Cesaro is the one who set up Jeff Hardy for a possible feud down the road. It's wishful thinking, I know. I'm trying everything I can. But you gotta give Cesaro something. He is better than just being Sami Zayn's or Corbin's or Nakamura's like backup plan. Cesaro is just too damn good for that. And if he did jump ship, I wouldn't blame him. Now that would mean him and Sarah Del Rey wouldn't be working in the same company anymore. I think she's still with NXT. But, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know? And Adrian says Adam Cole going to Raw or SmackDown challenging for the main title. I can't see it. I don't know. They pushed him pretty hard during Survivor Series season to make him seem like a big deal. I hope that since they showcased him on a WWE broadcast as opposed to an NXT broadcast in the same way he was portrayed on NXT, that they give him a shot. Not saying that they will, because obviously they can't push everybody. I mean, look how many NXT champions fell from grace as soon as they got to Raw or SmackDown. Let me count the ways. Neville. Bo Dallas. Who beat Bo Dallas? Neville beat Bo Dallas. Who beat Neville? Sami Zayn. Could argue. Kevin Owens. Nah, I think Kevin Owens did well. Balor. Arguable. Nakamura. Samoa Joe. Bobby Roode. Drew's the WWE champion, so obviously that doesn't apply. Andrade. To be determined. He was United States champion for a while, but to be determined. Aleister Black. To be determined. Ciampa's not up there. And Gargano and Cole aren't up there. So, more often than not, NXT champions don't do overly well on the main roster. Typically, it's the people who weren't as successful in NXT that get the pushes in WWE. Especially with the women. Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, two that immediately come to mind. Where would you put the Undisputed Era on the main roster? Would you put them on Raw or would you put them on SmackDown? And which brand is best for Keith Lee? If I was going to put the Undisputed Era on any show, I would probably put them on Raw. Now, granted, there's already the heel stable with Seth Rollins. There's the heel stable with Zelina Vega and her two people, with Andrade and Angel Garza. So it might be overkill to have 3 heel stables on the same show. The hell? Um, because it seems like there's a lot of heel overkill on the show. So unless you just have Adam Cole come up by himself and the Undisputed Era moves on without him. Seems like a weird thing to say, but I don't know. That's even if Adam Cole loses the title next week to Dream. He might not. As far as Keith Lee, I feel like Keith Lee would be better on SmackDown if he left NXT. I thought I got that spin for you, Adrian. I really did. Or are you just messing with me? You have a feeling that Vince isn't a fan of the Undisputed Era. I feel like Triple H is going to do everything he can to protect Adam Cole. I don't see any other way around that. I feel like they're going to do everything they can to protect him. Up until keeping him on NXT, even if he's not the NXT champion. You figure the Undisputed Era has been around since 2017. 2017, they've been around since TakeOver Brooklyn 3. So they've been around for 2.5 years as a dominant heel stable. You figure that eventually there's going to be some tension in there, or there's going to be something that maybe if Cole loses the championship, maybe the Era turns on him, or there's dissension. I don't know what the case would be, because Adam Cole has been champion for over a year now, so I don't know. Triple H is a mark for Adam Cole like he is with Kevin Steen, right? Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with being a Kevin Owens fan, nothing whatsoever. What female wrestler do you feel like they would put in Seth Rollins' stable? Well, it's not going to be Becky, because she's Becky Lynch might be done, honestly, to like have family. She might not come back. Like, she might be ready to move on to the next step of her life. And if that's the case, then we have to respect that. So Becky Lynch might not be back, but if they do have a female wrestler go into Rollins' stable, I feel like it's got to be somebody who doesn't really have a place right now. Like a heel that doesn't... What is the female roster for Raw? Because I never know anymore. Raw roster 2020. If it comes up. I was going to say Ruby Riott, but that seems like a big stretch. Baszler wouldn't fit in. Current superstars Raw. Kyrie wouldn't work. Lana, I mean, it honestly might be Ruby. I have people who aren't doing much of anything right now. It might be Ruby Riott. If you had to do it, you know. underrated Hell in a Cell match, Triple H versus Nash, Bad Blood 2003. I mean, that was a bloody one, for sure. That might be one I need to watch again. It's been many years since I've watched the Nash Triple H Hell in a Cell. You guys think Cena will come back as a heel? Probably not. I think that time is long past for Cena to be a heel. Many performers who became moms came back, from Trish to Mickey. I can see Lynch coming back because being in the spotlight can be an addiction. We'll see. I don't know what else Becky could do, though, because she's really accomplished everything that a woman in her position could accomplish. She's been women's champion multiple times. She's main event of WrestleMania. She's been one of the top merchandise sellers in the company. She's really hit the top. Like, I don't know. She's hit her ceiling. Is there anything else Becky Lynch could do? The only reason I wouldn't go with Liv, and I thought about Liv Morgan Germain. I thought about Liv being in that stable, but she's a babyface. I don't feel like putting her in another stable would be good for her. She needs to shine on her own. That's the only reason I wouldn't pick Liv. And Becky might become a trainer in NXT. I don't know. Her full-time career might be done. But maybe Becky will come back. Maybe post WrestleMania next year. After she has the baby in December. Something like that. Well, Sonya Deville is on SmackDown and Seth Rollins is on Raw. I think we're talking like people currently on the Raw brand. Which I think the Iconics are on Raw, but I don't think you need to mix them up with Rollins at all. If they even include a female stable member to begin with. All right, so we got about 5 minutes left in the show. So last chance for my plugs. Last chance for anybody to get a spin in. So you guys know if the super chats keep coming at the end of the show, the spins keep coming until I'm through a wall. So with just a few minutes left, I plug all my stuff again. YouTube.com/GregCherrybrand for the Wrestling Trivia Challenge and for any other videos I may post on there. Get the subscribers up. I'm almost at 1,000. I'm getting there. Let's keep that going. Teespring.com/stores/GregCherrybrand for all the merchandise. Ken, you'll have to let me know what shirt you want. Send it to me via Twitter or email. Doesn't really matter to me. And of course, you can follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter at GregCherrybrand. And I will be back this coming Saturday because I will be out of town on Sunday. So this coming Saturday, I will be on for another live stream, and we'll get stuff going. We'll have another weekend of fun, and hopefully the world will come down from how incredibly heated it's been the last week. Hopefully we can come down and work together and be a united people. That's what I'm hoping. So the last couple questions here. Ken with a $5 super chat. Appreciate it, Ken. Appreciate that. I hope to see you on next Saturday. I'm thinking about telling you on email, but maybe Twitter. Whatever way you get a hold of me, just let me know. Just let me know the shirt size, what shirt you want. And I believe I still have your address through the Twitter DM. So yeah, that's fine. Adrian asks if Michelle McCool is overrated or underrated. I believe Michelle McCool is slightly overrated, but I think she's overrated but underappreciated. if that makes any sense. I don't know if that does, because she was talented during the Divas era, but I don't know. I always thought that there were multiple wrestlers better than she was. So she's underappreciated, but I think she's a little bit overrated for all the success she had. I like Michelle McCool, don't get me wrong. So if the lights go out and I get chokeslammed here, then, I won't talk bad about Michelle McCool anymore. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Do you like the concept of the lumberjack match? I do, if it's done well. If a lumberjack match is done well, which Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2014, good example of a lumberjack match. And even the little bit of a tease they had with Owen Hart winning the title off of Bret Hart in a lumberjack match on a home video release, that was a good example of a lumberjack match. If it tells the right story, the lumberjack match has to tell a story. It can't just be people on the outside surrounding the ring. It's always got to tell a story of how the match progresses and how it's unfair to one person and how people are treating other people different ways because of how they like them or what. It's got to tell a true story. It would be interesting to see Michelle McCool get a full-time match, if she even still wants to do that, because I know she appeared in the Royal Rumble. She appeared in the Evolution Battle Royal. But those are just Battle Royals. You don't have to have a whole lot of overt skill in those type of matches. You just have to be able to get by. And yes, Layla was good looking. All right, so if there's nothing else, this stream is about over. So I will talk to you guys on Saturday for the next Greg Cherry live stream. And until next time, I'm just checking real quick, making sure that there's no super chats. I will see you guys on Saturday for the next live stream. Again, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Greg Cherry Brand for all the other stuff that I'm doing. And